back in 2019, way back in the day, when COVID was going on, one of the many things that COVID ruined my trust and faith in is organized religion. And let me say, I am a Catholic. I, most Sundays, will go to the traditional Latin Mass. I, most days, will pray my rosary. I wear my scapular. I say my morning prayers. You know, not saying I'm a good Catholic, but I am saying that I am a Catholic. I consider myself to be a Catholic. The Pope, I think he's a phony. But anyway, that's beside the point. Because I'm about to go in on organized religion here, so I'm just prefacing this video by saying that. So, yeah, back in the day, 2019, COVID happens, you know, everything shuts down for 2 weeks, including churches. And here's my problem with that. So, churches claim, mine included, that they, you know, are basically direct pipelines to God. That, you know, by meeting together in church, offering the Mass, or having your service, whatever, you know, calling on God, you are literally talking directly to this omnipotent and all-powerful and omnipresent being that can do anything, that created the world, that can end the world, that can raise the dead, that can, you know, cure sickness, and, you know, just any kind of miracle. Like, nothing is impossible for God, right? Right? That's what church tells us. And church claims, our churches, they claim to be, you know, they're representatives of this omnipotent, all-powerful God on earth, and to have, you know, a direct pipeline to bend his ear, you know? Like, if you have faith, you can move mountains, you know, that whole thing. So, when there is an incoming, you know, this crazy disease is coming, this black plague, you know, it's going to kill everybody. If you believe that you actually do have this direct pipeline to God, you can bend God's ear, everything like that, would it make more sense to double down on going to church? Or would it make more sense to not go to church at all? And so leaders of these churches, of my church, of all the churches, you know, the leadership, I'm not shaming anybody here. I am shaming the leadership. I'm not shaming us normal small peons, you know. I am shaming the leadership. So, if you believe that your religion is this direct pipeline to this all-powerful God, would it make more sense in times of need, you know, in times of disaster, to go to church more or less? More, right? Because, you know, if you think you can pray and God will work miracles for you, then that's what you should be doing in times of, you know, disease and pestilence and a plague, so to speak. However, what did 99% of churches do when the government said to shut down? They shut down. And that tells me that the leaders of the churches don't believe their own story. This tells me that when they are faced with what they thought would be an actual plague, that they thought, you know, we're going to send everybody home, back to their houses, and, you know, keep everybody separate so we don't all catch this thing. Whereas if they actually believed their own stories, they would say, everybody has to come to church, we're going to pray, and pray this thing away. So, yeah, what it told me when they shut down their churches is that they don't believe their own stories. And I mean, it might have been a lapse of judgment or whatever, but I mean, when you're a religious leader, hey, you can't be the fucking coward, you know? You gotta be strong. And you can't be afraid. You know, fear not, whatever. I think that's something in the Bible too. So, yeah. That's what 99% of churches did, you know, they closed their doors. And that tells me, like I said, that they don't believe their own stories. And they don't believe their own mission. Yeah, it just is what it is. And what I think the main thing that played into that is their tax exempt status. So the government can revoke that if they feel like it. You know, if churches and organizations don't comply with what the government's telling them, they can revoke your tax exempt status. And then you've got to pay taxes on all your property and your big churches and your big buildings that are worth lots of money. And you got to pay taxes on all your, you know, what people are giving you, and you'd have to report income, and you know, it'd be bad for churches. So I think what the leaders did is they kind of weighed their options and were like, well, you know, that isn't going to work for us. You know, we have to start paying taxes, so we better just, you know, do what the government tells us. Thereby, basically rendering to Caesar what was God's. Because apparently worshiping God is not the most important thing. In their book, staying tax exempt is far more important. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I still go to Mass mostly and pray and all that good stuff. But yeah, that really shook my faith in organized religion in general. I mean, my church, other people's churches, like, it's really hard to take seriously, or as seriously, after that. So, I don't know, it is what it is. It would be as it was then. It will be as it is. But yeah, that shook my faith, but I am still a man of faith. So just a couple more deepish thoughts on the whole churches shutting down thing back in the old days of 2019. So, you know, the church is all about saving your soul, your eternal soul. The most important thing is your soul. And because of that, you know, they have these different rules. I know for Catholics, it's a rule that you have to go to Mass on Sunday. And I'm sure for it's one of the 10 Commandments, you know, honor the Sabbath. So I'm sure it's a lot of other religions as well. And supposedly this is for, you know, your eternal soul, which is way more valuable than our bodies, you know. We should always be willing to sacrifice our bodies for our soul, right? And then, all of a sudden, when our bodies were supposedly in danger, church just shuts down. And they're like, yeah, never mind our rule that we made. We're just not going to do that so that we don't get sick. And yeah, pretty suspect. It's like, if our souls are that much more important, like, that's not what you would do. Not at all. Like, literally, the tune that they were singing went from, be ready to sacrifice your life for your faith. You know, how many times have we heard that? And everyone's always like, yeah, I'm so ready to sacrifice my life for my faith. A lot of Christians will say that. And Then, when push came to shove, it was like, actually, I'm gonna sacrifice my faith so I don't get sick. Not even like for your life, just so you don't get sick. That doesn't make any sense if these religions and these leaders of religions are actually what they purport to be. So yeah, went from I'll lay down my life for my faith to I'll lay down my faith so I don't get sick real quick. Like, it's whatever. I mean, it's whatever, you know, it's whatever. Like, I'm still gonna say my rosary, it's fine. But don't tell me I have to go to church every Sunday. I